Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a long time since I've done an RW podcast type style video, but I have a really fun guest, a guy I really like talking to, very knowledgeable. We have Tim from Little Crow Gunworks. Welcome, Tim.
Hey, Austin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. So I thought we'd have a fun little discussion. Tim, I want to know, what are the most popular hunting cartridges that Little Crow Gunworks builds?
I guess it would depend on the game. It seems like nowadays the trend that's been going on, Dale and I talk about this all the time, the owner of our company and our gunsmith. And we feel like because things are so expensive, custom rifles especially, we feel like over time, guys are looking for kind of a do-all rifle, and with the popularity of long-range hunting and long-range shooting, that seems to be where everybody's gravitating towards. Where even guys that say, I'm not a long range hunter, I don't consider myself a long range hunter. That guy, most of the time, if he's going elk hunting or hunting out west, he still wants to be able to shoot 400 yards.
Yeah.
And 30, 40, 50 years ago, 400 yards might as well have been a mile. Nobody was shooting that distance. And where now even the conservative guys want to be able to shoot that far. So it becomes a consideration for everybody. And people realize that tags aren't that easy to come by. And even if you get a tag, that doesn't mean you're going to get an opportunity. So guys want to try to make the most of it. So what they end up doing is they say, okay, I want to get into this, or I've been hunting out west and I want to extend my effective range. I kind of want a rifle that can do everything. I can hunt elk with, I can hunt mule deer with, I can still hunt whitetails in the Midwest. I can go out and practice at long range and try to get proficient at this. And if I'm going to spend, up to $7,000-8,000 on a custom rifle and top end optic and all that, I kind of want it to be able to do everything, or jack of all, master of none kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's the bulk. If somebody's building a hunting rifle, that's pretty much always what it is. It's very few guys that are like, well, I want to build this rifle for whitetail in Kansas, and then I want another one for mule deer, and then I want this one for elk. I mean, you get those guys if they have money to burn, but in general, the average guy building a custom rifle, he wants kind of a universal one and done.
Okay, that makes sense. So what would you say is the most popular caliber, and then cartridge?
Well, if it's through that do-all lens, and this may be because of the content that we've been putting out on our channel and the types of people we're attracting. So I would say probably 75% of the rifles we build now are for people across the country that found our YouTube channel. It's most of our rifle builds. We have some local guys that come from, throughout the state in Minnesota that heard of us for one reason or another, but it's mostly guys across the country. And if you follow our channel, which I know you do, but maybe all your viewers don't, we did an entire series on 7mm magnums through the lens of elk hunting and what would be necessary to an efficient and good at that job. So I don't know if that's the main reason, but it seems like we're building more 7mm than anything else. I would say for big game hunting, we're building more 7mm than everything else combined.
Wow. So what is the most popular hunting cartridge that you guys build?
I think what we've done the most since I've been there, it's probably a tie between the 280 Ackley Improved and the 7PRC.
Okay.
And I think the reasons are you get guys that want to be able to shoot factory ammo, and they'll have a tendency to err towards the 7PRC because of availability. And then if guys hand load, they have a tendency to err towards the 280 Ackley Improved. And I think both of those cartridges are popular because what's the best way to say this? They're very efficient. If you have a tight twist and you're shooting high BC bullets, you can do a lot with what those cartridges can produce as far as velocity and without the heavy recoil penalty.
Right.
And I think it really comes down to that, is that the 7PRC is a modernized version of the 7 Rem Mag. And you and I both know they're similar performance. The 7 Rem Mag you can get a little more out of if you know what you're doing than the 7 PRC. But because it's modernized, it's, I would say, a little easier to make it shoot small on average. And the recoil is very, very similar to a 7 Rem Mag. Availability is not as good.
Right.
Obviously, 7 Rem Mag you can find at gas stations out west. And then the 280 has way less availability than even 7 PRC, but it's kind of like a cult cartridge.
Following.
Yeah, like the guys that like it absolutely love it, and it's put up on a pedestal. And
Right.
I think it is a great cartridge. I don't think it's unjustified. But probably those two the most. You know, we've done a lot of content on those, and I've done a lot of videos on, you know, showcasing sevens in general, but especially the 280, showcasing builds that we've done. And that may be why we're attracting more people. I don't think that's it completely. I think those two cartridges are kind of in that sweet spot.
I would say both of those cartridges are very well balanced and give you all the performance you would ever need for hunting out west.
Right, because what I was talking about earlier, where, you know, even the conservative guy says, okay, 400 and in. Well, even if you get a guy that's a little more skilled, a little more comfortable shooting longer ranges, most guys still will draw the line at 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm.
They're, you know, you watch our 7mm Showdown series where I set an artificial limit of 600 yards. That's 99% of people's limit. You know, I rarely run into a guy who's even interested in shooting farther than that. So, which gives me confidence. You know, I'm happy about that, because I don't think hardly anybody's qualified to be shooting at animals past that. But through that lens, if 600 is your kind of limit, well, both of those cartridges are suitable for that, the 7 PRC and the 280 Ackley. So if that's enough, what does more gain you besides more recoil, worse barrel life, higher cost, you know, higher cost zone, higher cost to operate, more frequent barrel changes, that sort of thing. And oftentimes more expensive components like a 28 Nosler. 28 Nosler brass is double the cost of the other three.
It's true.
And they're not, it doesn't use twice the material. You know, it doesn't use twice the amount of brass, and it's not twice as fast. It's not twice as anything. But the brass is twice as much, even for the same brand. So
yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot for sevens. And rightly so. I think they're both great cartridges. They can both be made to shoot incredibly small in the hands of a skilled hand loader. They just have, you know, little bit of different features about them. 280 Ackley, slightly less recoil, slightly more barrel life, slightly less performance, slightly longer overall cartridge length, where the 280 Ackley is better suited in a Magnum length action, where you can cram it into that 3.340, but it's crammed in there.
Yeah.
Where the 7 PRC is designed for that length, and it's optimized for that length. So they have a little bit different features about them that we can talk more about if you want. But I think that's the bulk of what we're doing. We do build some 7 Rem Mags, some 28 Noslers, things like that, but way more 7 PRCs and 280 Ackleys.
Well, I kind of want to bring up another topic is, you know, I'm a huge 30 caliber fanboy, and I love my 30 calibers. How many 30 caliber cartridges are you building?
You know, not a lot. And I think if we do build a 30 caliber Magnum hunting rifle, it's almost always a 300 PRC.
Okay. That's kind of what I've heard from other custom gun builders is 30 Nosler or 300 PRC. No one's doing 300 Win Mag ever anymore. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's a few things. I think the out-of-the-box performance is really appealing. The high BC bullets are appealing. The high-quality factory ammo is appealing. And then what else? I guess the inherent precision of it, if you are going to hand load, and the rifles that are set up for that, having an appropriate twist, that sort of thing. You know, if you're building a custom 300 Win Mag, you can have a tight twist as well, and you can put it in the right length action so you can optimize it and, you know, seat the bullets out farther, do that sort of thing. But then you still have to navigate the belt, and just nobody's doing it. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with a 300 Win Mag. I own one, and I got mine to shoot amazing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it in for a 300 PRC, but it seems like if guys are going to start from scratch, that's what they opt for. That nobody's building 300 Weatherbies, and I don't think we've ever
Right.
even built a 30 Nosler.
Hmm.
I think it's almost been exclusively 300 PRCs since
Yeah.
that cartridge came out.
And it makes sense. To me, I see the 300 PRC as a modernized, improved version of a 300 Win Mag.
I would say that's accurate. Yeah, the case is slightly bigger, but this could be a rabbit hole. I don't know that I want to go into, but in my experience, I've loaded for a lot of different 300 Magnums, and with a 26-inch barrel, you can get just about the same velocity out of all of them, despite the fact that they have different case capacities, like a 300 Win Mag, 300 PRC, 300 Weatherby, even a 300 Rum. You start to run out of your ability to bring more out of it. Like, I've loaded all of those with 200 to 210 grain bullets, and it seems like regardless of the cartridge, you can run it up to about 4,200 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and that's it. At safe pressures. It really doesn't matter the cartridge. Even a 300 Rum, which is a much bigger case, you're burning more powder and you have way less barrel life, but you're not getting any more. Like, it feels like those big cases, you need a longer barrel to get more out of them, which in this day and age is not very popular.
No, not at all.
There aren't many of us left that want 26 and longer barrels. The trend of short barrels is kind of taking over the hunting space for sure. And and whatever, if that's what guys want, but those big cartridges, they need barrel length to actually work correctly, and for you to be able to pick optimal powders for those cartridges.
100%. Now, I still think we've had this discussion. I think 300 Win Mag is extremely still popular. I just see it as, how do I say it, a blue collar type cartridge. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that? That it's usually not in custom guns. It's in your Model 70s, your maybe older Remington 700s, or, name a factory gun. I think they're mostly in factory guns.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I would say it's very embedded in the Western hunting culture. I think if you go elk hunting, and you do, you elk hunt, if you run into guys at the trailhead or run into guys on the road or whatever, and you just took a survey of what they're carrying, if on an average day, let's say you run into 20 hunters, 17 of them are going to be carrying a 7 Rem Mag, a 300 Win Mag, or a 270.
I agree.
That's it. And the other three guys will have something weird.
Right.
That's just how it is. It's just embedded in that culture, and those cartridges, own Western hunting. It's these newer cartridges are starting to, guys are starting to take them out there, but it's more, ballistic, long range savvy guys like me. It's not your average guy that's going out elk hunting that, like I said, that is willing to stay within 400 yards or something like that. Those guys aren't going out and buying 300 PRCs. And because a lot of people, they care about availability and being able to find ammo if something goes wrong, or, whatever. And that stuff's out there. 270, 7 Rem Mag, 300 Win Mag, it's out there.
And most people don't hand load.
Right.
And so,
we have to remember what, little niche we're in, that
right.
We hand load for everything, and it's commonplace for us, but that's not true for everybody.
Right. I 100% agree. The vast majority I talk to of people when I'm out elk hunting in the mountains in Utah, they're either carrying a 300 Win Mag or a 7 Mag. So I agree.
Yeah.
100%. So, well, Tim, I'll be honest. I don't know what else to talk about. It's only been 15 minutes.
We can talk about whatever you want.
I know. All right, Tim. So we've talked about hunting cartridges that Little Crow Gunworks makes and what's the most popular. I want to know, what is the most popular cartridge that you guys build, period?
Ooh. Most popular cartridge we build, period. Probably the 223 Ackley Improved.
Really? That is an oddball.
Yep. Yep. That we're kind of known for that, and we have a lot of experience with it. And if it's not the 223 Ackley Improved, it's probably the 223. And when I say that, both of them would be with fast twist barrels, with 7 twist barrels, shooting long, heavy bullets.
Right. Nice.
Namely, specifically the 75 and 80 grain ELDM. We build a lot of prairie dog rifles and a lot of small caliber precision rifles. And for anybody that shot prairie dogs out west, you know that in open spaces like that, the wind blows.
Mm-hmm.
So BC is your friend. The old logic of, well, I'm going to get a 22-250 and a 40 grain bullet and shoot it 4,200 feet a second. That works for the first 250 yards. But after that, you're getting blown all over the place because of the wind, where these long, heavy for caliber bullets, they buck the wind a lot better, and you have a lot more wind forgiveness to stay on the prairie dog. So because of that, I would say we build a lot of those. We have a lot of prairie dog shooters that come through, and what do we know about prairie dog shooters? They shoot out barrels. So, so they're repeat offenders. They come back for barrels. For barrels,
the best type of customer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. They're good at burning out barrels, and so because of that, you know, a lot of times people will experiment. It's like, well, I tried this cartridge. Let me try something else. Let me try something else. And so because of that, I would say we build a lot of fast twist 223s and 223 Ackley Improves. And then we build a lot of bench rest rifles too, for short range bench rest. So we build a lot of 6 PPCs, 6 BRs, 6x45 we're working on. That's become popular. So a lot of small caliber stuff, varmint related stuff, which I think honestly we're probably going to steer the channel that direction a little bit more now, because that's really the sweet spot of what we do, and nobody's really paying attention to that market. You know, there aren't any big YouTubers that focus on varmint rifles. So I think we're going to spend some more time working on that kind of stuff.
Okay. 22 Creedmoor. Have you guys built one yet?
Oh boy. Yeah, we have. We built one. I think the first one we built was for Patrick Mayton, I think is how you say his last name, Mayton. He's the, I think he's one of the editors of Handloader magazine. And the rifle we built was actually on the cover of Handloader magazine.
Okay.
And we've had a few different rifles on the cover of that magazine, which is kind of the gold standard for rifle builders, if your rifle's being on the cover of Handloader. But yeah, the one we built for him, I think, had a 24-inch barrel, and he tested a whole bunch of different bullets with it, a whole bunch of different powders, and it's a rocket ship, just no matter how you slice it.
So why do you say, oh boy?
Because that cartridge, I feel like, I don't want to say it's a misguided audience that really likes it, but it seems like what guys want to do is they want a 22 Creedmoor, and then they want a really short barrel. Usually for coyote hunting. And because they're coyote hunting, they want to use a suppressor, which, you know, adds length. So typically they're trying to shorten up the package and make their rifle, you know, as manageable as possible. And the problem with that cartridge is you start shortening the barrel, you start running out of ideal powders to load in it. Or if you still try to use the super slow burning stuff, all the powder isn't burning before the bullet exits the muzzle, and you usually get suboptimal velocities, and then the powder is burning in your suppressor rather than in the barrel. And you know, and if you have a lot of powder that's not burning, or it's not burning clean, that increases fouling. Well, so do suppressors.
Yes.
So if suppressors increase fouling, now you have all that, you know, poorly burned soot and powder material coming back into the bolt face and the action and in around the firing pin and the spring, and it promotes carbon rings and that sort of thing. So I think that cartridge is amazing for what it can do, but I feel like it's not always put in an optimal package. Like I think that cartridge should have a 24-inch minimum barrel length, and
I
even
agree.
24 is a little short. But it's an amazing cartridge.
Okay, great. Well, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
And you have no idea what I'm going to ask you, so this will be fun.
Oh boy.
Favorite Weatherby cartridge?
Oh, 257.
Yeah, you're wearing your hat.
Yeah, 257. Make 257 great again. That is my favorite, I would say. The Weatherby cartridges, they're so historic, and they're all, rocket ships. Every one of them
Right.
is just crazy, the performance they can produce. But I have a sweet spot for the 257. I bought a Weatherby Vanguard when I was probably 21 or something like that, and shot the barrel out, and then replaced it with a 28-inch Krieger 7.5 twist,
Oh,
and put a Terminator T3 muzzle brake on it. And I did that when Blackjack Bullets, who made this hat, they're no longer in business, but this is a hat they produced, and it was right about the time they came out with their 131 grain Ace, which is made by Sierra, and they're making it again now that Blackjack is out of business. But I put a barrel on it specifically to shoot that bullet, and I tried probably 8 or 9 different Magnum powders that are appropriate burn rates, and with that 28-inch barrel, I would say I pressured out with most of those powders at like 34.25
with the 131.
With a 131. Screaming.
That's what most guys are doing with the 110 grain bullet.
Yeah.
257 Weatherby.
Yeah, and didn't none of them shot well up there. I had to bring them all down. So my final load was with N565 at 33.25.
Okay.
And it shoots incredible. That gun, 3-shot groups under 3/8 are pretty common. I don't know that I've shot one over a half. I've shot 3-shot cell phone size groups at 1,000 yards with it. One time I made a cold bore shot with Dale there and like 7 other people. First shot of the day with it, cold bore, 592 yards on a 5-inch circle. The thing's just a laser.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome.
But I love that cartridge, despite the 500 rounds of barrel life.
Yeah,
I burned about half of it doing load development, but I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care. It's awesome. The only thing I would do differently, or I should say, the only thing I'm going to do differently when I burn the barrel out is put a 30 on it instead of a 28.
Okay,
that's probably the only difference. It's
nice.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for coming on. What do you have coming up? You usually put out a video every Friday. Do you have something coming out?
Yeah. So tomorrow, which will be August 1st.
Which, when this video comes out today, a video comes out for Tim.
Yeah. Yep. A video comes out today, I guess, at 11 a.m. Central Time.
Okay.
It's going to be part 17 of our precision hand loading series, where we test our final polished hand load for our 308 Winchester at long range. So I shoot, basically prove it out. We developed the load during the series. Now let's see what it's got. Let's see what it can do. So I take it out to the farm, or I took it out to the farm this year, January 2nd, I think. Horrible conditions, shot targets out to 1,000 yards, and it shot amazing.
Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
That video is coming out today at 11 a.m. I guess hopefully this comes out before that.
Yeah, this video will be out 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So
yeah, so we got that. Okay, so we got that, and then one more basically conclusion video for that series, and then I don't know. We got a fast twist 270 Winchester we got to work on, and got a few other guns laying around.
I hear you have a 6.8 Western.
Got a 6.8 Western coming. Yep, okay. I think the barrel's arriving for that this week. So we got to build that 6.8 Western. It's for a fella in North Florida who's a big Midwestern whitetail hunter. He wanted that built. So, and he's letting me play with it and develop a load for it and work on it. So you'll see some videos on that. So yeah, got a lot of stuff coming up.
Great. Well, thanks, Tim. Hope you have a great day, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks, Austin.